President Trump has been declared the Time Magazine Man of the Year. He's on the cover again. That, of course, makes perfect sense since he led the greatest political comeback literally of all time. If you lose a presidential race and then you are basically cast out into the nether regions and then you somehow make a comeback all the way back to the presidency, that's pretty incredible. The interview that he did with Time Magazine is kind of fascinating. Again, the thing to notice about how Donald Trump is actually approaching the issues is that he's being quite moderate about it. Donald Trump is not interested in promoting what the media would term an extremist agenda. He's interested in metrics of success. And so that means that much of what he says in this interview seems more moderate than many of the things that his opponents are saying about him. So, for example, when it comes to immigration, he says the country is angry because of immigration, because of the people, millions and millions of people. It could be 21 million people. They were saying a much less number, but it wasn't a much lesser number. Even if it was irrelevant because they were allowing anybody to come into our country. They are right now. They opened it up again. You see what's going on. They're pouring up through Mexico and other places, and they weren't using common sense. And then later in the interview, he said, it doesn't stop the military if it's an invasion of our country, and I consider it an invasion of our country. We have criminals coming into our country that we've never seen. We've never seen before. We have people coming in at levels and at record numbers we've never seen before. I'll only do what the law allows, but I will go up to the maximum level of what the law allows. Okay, that does not sound particularly extremist to me. As far as family separations, he says, it wasn't my policy, it was Obama's policy. I didn't build jail cells for children, he did, which of course is true. And then asked about deportations, he said, well, if you're talking about family separations and you're talking about kids who could stay here and their families are going to be deported, I'd rather just keep the family together. He said, we have 325,000 children here during Democrats who are right now slaves, sex slaves, dead. They were allowed. What he's talking about there is the fact that the Department of Homeland Security and ICE basically put children into the system, and now they don't know where the kids are. Many of those people are with family, but some of those people, we have no idea where they are. When it came to inflation, one of the things that he talked about is that the grocery prices, he's going to bring those down. He said the left is trying to claim that he lied about inflation because he says that inflation is difficult to reduce. But he does say that that is his goal, is reducing inflation. He says energy prices were going through the roof, and now people just want to go back to Trump's policy. He says tax reductions are going to reduce inflation as well because people will have more competition in the marketplace. Again, this interview with Time Magazine is fascinating mainly because of the moderation of the interview. He is taking a very pro-markets stance, for example. So President Trump says, for example, that he's going to lower the corporate tax rates if you build in the United States, which seems like a pretty sensible proposal.
We're going to do things, I think, that haven't been really done before. We're going to be cutting taxes still further. As you know, we got it down to 21%. We're going to bring it down even below that. You pay 21 if you don't build here, and meaning your product or whatever it is you're building. And if you do, we're going to try getting it down to 15%. But you have to build your product, make your product in the USA.
Yeah, again, this seems fairly commonsensical. Right now, Donald Trump is enjoying a polling honeymoon like he has never seen before in his entire political career. He's even seeing Democrats who are starting to come around to his side on some of these issues, particularly immigration. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, he says, listen, there are 500,000 migrant children in this country we cannot find.
We have 500,000 children who had sponsors in this country that we can't find. We can't find them. We don't know if they're doing child labor. We don't know if they're doing sex crimes. We don't know if they're being exploited. 500,000 children. There's a level of hypocrisy that everyone that states they want to protect everyone but innocent individuals who are victims of crimes and children. I want to support and protect children and innocent people that are victims of crime. And those who don't understand that, it's not up to me to try to convince them. I know what my job is, my goal is, and I was clear of that while running and when I became mayor. Safety means everything to me. 500,000 children, we don't know where they are right now in this country.
Every month you wait is another month of potentially higher payments. Here's a smart play. Consider refinancing with Churchill Mortgage while rates are down. If rates drop further, no problem. Your team at Churchill Mortgage will be there to help you refinance again. That's how you stay ahead of the game. Whether you're looking to make your monthly budget work better or just being strategic about using your home's equity, a refi could be your solution. Ask yourself, are you carrying high-interest credit card debt? A cash-out refinance could help you consolidate that debt at a lower rate. Have you been putting off home improvements? A cash-out refi could fund those needed updates. Plus, here's something timely. When you refinance, you skip a mortgage payment. Perfect timing for the holiday season. And if you're in the market to buy, here's an insider tip. December is statistically one of the best times to negotiate on your dream home. I recently sat down with Matt Clark. He's the president of Churchill Mortgage. What struck me most was his genuine passion for helping families build generational wealth through homeownership. This is a priority to him on a personal level. The experts at Churchill Mortgage are ready to have a real conversation about your options. No robots, just experienced professionals who understand your unique situation. Head over to churchillmortgage.com/Shapiro. Tell your loan officer I sent you. You will be in good hands. churchillmortgage.com/Shapiro. NMLS ID 1591, an equal housing lender. And meanwhile, the Biden administration continues to pursue an insane policy that is utterly disconnected from reality. So, for example, yesterday, Joe Biden launched the greatest wave of commutations in American history. According to the Wall Street Journal, President Biden is commuting the sentences of around 1,500 people while he considers more clemency actions before he leaves office, including possible preemptive pardons of officials who have clashed with President-elect Donald Trump. The White House said the commutations were for people who were released from prison and placed in home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic. He pardoned 39 Americans convicted of nonviolent crimes, but we're talking here about drug offenses, which means that they're now considering drug distribution a nonviolent crime, which is kind of an amazing thing. Some of the people who are having their sentences commuted are pretty controversial. I mean, you have people who are connected with terrorism, people who are convicted of connections with, for example, the Holy Land Foundation, a front group for Hamas. You are looking at, for example, people who have completely legitimately robbed entire municipalities of money, who are now being given commutations by the Biden administration. I don't even know what the logic here is. It makes zero sense at all why Joe Biden would do this. He, for example, has now commuted the sentence of the notorious Kids for Cash judge convicted of imprisoning juveniles for $2.1 million in kickbacks. This would be former Luzerne County Judge Michael Conahan. That was, again, among the 1,500 commutations. He had pled guilty to racketeering conspiracy charges for his role in the scheme. He was sentenced to 17 and a half years in prison in 2011, and he was released to home confinement. So Biden is now commuting the rest of his sentence. Again, I don't know if Joe Biden's desire here is to actually destroy the entire credibility of the party that threw him out of office, but if not, he's doing an amazing job of it. Karine Jean-Pierre is cheering the fact that Biden has issued more commutations than anyone.
So today, President Biden announced that he is granting clemency to approximately 1,500 Americans, the largest act in a single day, who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation, as well as a strong commitment to making their communities safer. The president is commuting the sentences of 1,500 individuals who were placed on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic and who have successfully reintegrated into their families and communities. He's also pardoning 39 individuals who were convicted of 9 non-violent crimes. The president has issued more sentence commutations at this point in his presidency than any of his recent predecessors at the same point in their first terms.
I mean, what the hell is Joe Biden doing? Why is this supposed to be a good thing? Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.